Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, saha viryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Respected Guruji, Sukadevji, Swaminiji, and Bhandariji, and all the respected guests, students. Let us discuss something. Let's not have it as a monologue, but rather I would like to have you talk, participate. Are you going to do that with me? Happy? No? Okay. We are discussing something today which is, I feel, on my personal level, has been ignored. So, let us discuss an aspect of yoga which everyone talks about, but it is the most ignored topic of yoga. What could that be? It's the topic called Prána, then your favorite word pranayama, and then there is this weird, unknown, something special called Náḍi Shástra. I'm sure every one of you must have heard of Prána. Have you? Yes? Have you met Prána? So what is it? It is energy. Is it good or bad? It is really good. The more we have it, the better it is it? Yes? No? You feel, it looks like you're scared to answer. Is it, the more we have it, the better it is? We are scared, okay. Don't be. Please don't be scared. Simply answer. It doesn't matter. It's going to be wrong, but still answer. So, what is prana? It's quickly answered, it's energy. Is a life force, yes. We are alive because we have prana. When we don't have prana, what do we have? A dead body, which is called nishprana. All right. So, is it good to have more prana? As much as we have, it's better. The more, the better. Is it that way? Okay, who says yes? Yes, supporting group. Wonderful. No supporting group. And what are the others thinking? You're not allowed to sit on the fence. Do you know that? Make friends with yes or no. Unfortunately, when you understand the concept prana, you would understand that it is not that simple, that the more you have, the better it is. Or, see the question is simple. Is it good to have more petrol in your car? Is it? How much more petrol is good to have in your car? 100 liters? 500 liters? So as much as the car needs, that's as much as you need to have. But if you go faster, you need more. You go slower, you need less. So prana, let's say, is the energy. It's something that makes movements happen. Something that moves, that's called prana. What do we do with that prana? No, not what we generally do. What should we do with the prana? Should we use it? Should we save it? Should we consume it? Should we make it more? For example, money. It's easier. The more money you have, use it. Use it for good. Help people. The more you get, the more you can consume. Is it the same with prana? And when we discuss yoga, what does the yoga tell us? What should we do with the prana? Conserve it. Don't spend it. Earn more, just don't spend it. Is it? Or don't earn more. See, so many questions we have now created. And I can see a lot of question marks on your faces, which basically shows that the same confusion is there in many of you. You have it in your mind. Firstly, let me make a bold statement. No energy is good energy. Do you like the statement? I can support it. See how? Energy means that what creates movement. If you have been to school and studied simple physics, you know that when you add energy to anything, what happens to that thing? The particle starts moving faster and faster. The more energy, the faster it moves. And at one point, it moves so fast that it just breaks apart and runs away. For example, when you add energy to water, the water evaporates. That means the particles are running away from each other. That is why it is said that energy is always destructive. When you put energy into something, you destroy the form. When you take away energy from it, then you create a form. That is why, have you heard of absolute zero? What is absolute zero? It's temperature. How much is it? 0 degrees Kelvin, yes. And how much is the temperature? Yes, wonderful. 270, minus 273 and some digits in front of it. We have managed to reach even 274 in theoretical, in some special experimental environments. But that shows that when a particle stops moving, it loses zero energy. And when it doesn't lose energy, it conserves itself. It's a very simple principle. That is absolute zero. You can't go below absolute zero because there is no movement. There is no less movement than zero movement. What we are talking here about is when you use the prana, when there is energy, there is movement. When you stop moving, the energy loss stops. Now, what is yoga telling us? Is it telling us consume more? Because honestly speaking, the definition of happiness in the modern world is connected to the definition of consumption. For example, you are happy. Show me you are happy. How do you show a lot of happiness? Come on. Yeah, show me please. See, screaming. Because you are happy. If I say, I'm happy, you don't believe me. Unless I start jumping, screaming. So when we have this attitude, what happens next is the definition of happiness is about stimulating the prana. And the more stimulated you are, the happier you are. This is what we have been told. So, what is the best drink in the morning? Not in this ashram, outside I'm talking about. I found it even here once. So what is the best drink in the morning? You wake up, you drag yourself out of the bed. Coffee, of course, hot water. What are we, ashramites? Coffee. Why coffee? Because it stimulates. Now, what does that mean? When you use the word stimulate, what does that mean? That means you have stored some prana in your body that you have hard earned, because to get prana, where do you go? Some people say, I get prana from sun. No, you don't. You feel better when there is sun outside, but you don't get prana. Where do you get prana from? From, be careful, you're not going to get food from today. The food that we eat, that gives us the prana. Oh, see, I'm a simple person. I'm not too complicated in terms of spiritual knowledge, maybe. That is why I like to speak like a normal person, simple words. I could talk like this, that prana is the connection between the universe and the body, mind, soul, and harmonizing and symphonizing. What does that even mean? It absolutely doesn't mean anything. We feel good about it. We have nothing to do, so let's talk. This is okay. But when you really want to understand something, you have to use simple words. So when we say, I'm stimulated, means I have collected prana from food, from air that I breathe, and I'm consuming it. And the more I consume, the better it is. What else is consumerism? It's not just spending money, it is actually spending anything that you have. So, the definition, the Eastern definition of happiness does not connect with spending. It does not connect with stimulation. It actually connects with exactly opposite to stimulation. That's why when you see a Buddhist happy monk, how would you show me, enact, like the children were doing a few minutes before? Charades. Enact. How would a Buddhist monk look? Would he be doing that, what you were doing? Would that be a Buddhist monk? No, you don't picture that. Because the definition of happiness is when you don't need to do anything. When your consumption is bare minimum, when you are so calm that nothing is changing in or out. Now, this is what yoga has been teaching us. But somehow we forgot about it. You would see the contradictions. An asana is what? A and sat. Beat, to be, and to come and to be. And then what? Afterwards what? We came, we are, what next? If you're asking that question, you're not doing an asana. Because next means we have stopped being and starting something else. That is why an asana is a pose you get into from which you don't need to go out again. Now imagine the words that are taught to us. Some teacher comes and says that there is a series of asana. What is a series of asana? Does it make sense to you now? Can there be a series of coming and then being? So come, be, but don't be too long. And then go further and go further. Actually, a lot of people, they say that when I practice asana, I feel happy. Why won't you? It is actually the stimulation that happens in our brain. When you pull the muscle slightly, what does happen in the brain? Little bit of endorphins are released. They make you happy. But then, that happiness is not enough. So what do? We pull it more. How far? And teacher tell us, pull it as much as so that it pains a little bit. Why do this teacher tell us? that when you exercise a pose, it should pain a little bit to begin with, so that you can go further and become more acrobatic. You can put your leg behind your head. You should fit in a little carry-on luggage. And if you can do that, that's the definition of the greatest yogi. To untangle after opening the suitcase, it should take at least 10 minutes, then you're a great yogi. Is it? So what happens when you pull it further to become more flexible, to become more? The body's fight or flight response kicks in. It tries to stop the pain and it puts a little more adrenaline in the body. Now you have a great cocktail of endorphins and adrenaline. You take a shot of this cocktail. How do you look? You should look at the faces of people coming out of a yoga class after doing this so-called dynamic yoga. How do they look? Trust me, they look happy and a little bit high. This. Have you noticed these faces? Start watching, you will see. So what we are doing is we are creating an illusion of happiness by simply manipulating with our brain, by stimulating certain things in our brain, and then says yoga is great. I have stopped drinking alcohol because now I don't need it. I just get drunk on a little bit of endorphins, adrenaline, and I'm happy. But then you get used to it. I have heard people saying, if they don't exercise for one day, they don't feel so good. They have to practice. They miss it. You know what happened to this person now? He's hooked. He's addict to these endorphins and this adrenaline. And if they don't have it, they have all the symptoms of abstinence. Exactly like a drunk person. They get upset and so on. So, when we look at the texts, I somehow don't understand where did this teacher find these definitions of so-called dynamic yoga and jump around like a monkey and that's a yoga and put your leg here and put your hand there and that's a yoga. It's nowhere written. Did we even read the books? What do they say? We hear stories like when we sweat a lot, then we are doing the right yoga because you're detoxifying. What are we? A canal, this, how do you call it? The drainage system, a toilet pipe, constantly cleaning oneself. The body is taking care of itself. So we have to go back to the text. And what do the texts say? The texts say, Adhame Sveda Jananam. When we are sweating, that's the worst kind of practice one can do. Madhyame Kampanam Cha. When you are shaking, that's the little less bad. Uttame sthanam apnoti tato vayum niruddhaye. That's how one should hold the Vayu. Who is Vayu? We knew that there was some Prána. Now who is this Vayu? What is it? God of wind? No, there's no God in there. See, this is how we answer sometimes. That there's no further question. Who is the God? Mhm. Mhm. I understand. That is why. Mhm. Yeah, but see, let me stop here, Bhandariji, please. Mhm. 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 See, we don't care what people think, because if people are really so good about thinking, then they can put their name on it. When you say yoga, then the first thing one has to do is read what is written, study it. You want to invent more. After you finish studying, then you think about inventing. Not after a 100 hours course, not after a weekend program. See, this is what happens. That we start thinking where we are supposed to listen. We are supposed to read. There is enough work done by people like Patanjali, by a lot of other monks. This is why we respect it, because it's an age-old tradition. But what we are doing here is we are modifying the basics. I will show you how. Please, Bhandariji. Let's not go there. Bhandariji, please, let's not go there. So, now the classes are about movements, and what are we talking about is not moving. For example, let's take the word pranayama, and we will come back to Vayu. When we say pranayama, the definition of pranayama is, who would tell me the definition of pranayama? Sorry? The domain of prana, anyone else? Okay, let me ask it differently. How does Patanjali define pranayama? No one? No, that's not what he says. What does Patanjali say? I don't want an interpretative answer. What does Patanjali say? See, this is a wake-up call. That when we listen to someone, ask the person, has he read the book? Or he just talking off his head? A pranayama is defined tasmin sati, after being established in the asana, shvasa prashvasa yoho, gatihi vichedah. Pranayama. He has been repeating in different ways to tell pranayama is basically holding the breath. It is not breathing in, it is not breathing out. You have to breathe in to hold or to breathe out to hold, that's of course. But to hold it is pranayama. That is why Surya Bhedanam Ujjayi Sitkari Shitali Tatha Bhastrika Brahmari Murcha Plavini Cha. What is the last word? Ashta Kumbhakaha. 8 Kumbhakas, not 8 pranayamas. Now what happens is, when we talk about Vayu or Vata in Ayurveda or Prana in Yoga, these are synonyms. Vata, Vayu, Prana, what do? They do some movement in the body. What kind of movement do they do? Do you know how many pranas or vayus or vatas are defined in the tradition? There are some people showing me hand, that means I take 5. Who agrees with 5? Raise your hands. There are 5 pranas. Main pranas, okay. Okay. Anyone else? Other numbers? 55. A bigger bed? Sukadev is 10. You're raising or reducing the number. There are actually 10 pranas. Prana, Udana, Samana, Apana, Vyana. And then Naga, Kurma, Krikara, Devadatta, Dhananjaya. These are 10 pranas that we all know. If not, now we know. So, now when we talk about an asana, when we talk about a prana, a position, what do we expect to happen? Are the definitions given in terms of stretch your back, pull your muscles, or there are some other results that we are expecting? Is there a possibility that we go exactly the opposite route because we simply don't know what's written there? So now, as the time is running, I have about 10 minutes. So I'll give you one simple example, and that is a pose called Paschimottanasana. Have you heard of the position, asana? Wonderful. There is one lady already showing it. Are you? Yes, okay. What does it mean? Let's start with the simple word play. What does it mean? Who will say? Please raise your hands that I can. Do you know? It's translated as a clamp or a forward bend. Is it right? Am I translating it correct? Anita is shaking her head. Tell me. You know my answer. So, how is it translated? Stretching up the back. Okay. See, I have even heard one of the Hindi teachers saying, I don't know if you understand Hindi. पीठ को तानो, हो गया. Pull your back forward, and that's it. Now let's look at it from the perspective of prana. These 5 pranas, prana, udana, samana, apana, vyana. The area in which prana functions is this. Then there is udana, which goes upward in the same direction. Prana is moving downwards. Udana is going upwards. Then there is samana in the midsection, doing the digestion. And then there is apana, which is helping us go every morning to the little room and doing more things. For example, it allows us to urinate, get out stool, some reproductive liquids, menstruation in women, and even the childbirth is driven by this apana. Prana allows us to eat, breathe in, think. Udana allows us to breathe out, vomit, speak, have emotions. Imagine when you say, I'm thinking, how do you say? I'm thinking. It's the movement going inwards. When you say, I have emotions, they are all coming out. Do you say, I have emotions? You don't say. I'm thinking. Something wrong is happening there. So, when we receive something, where do we receive the sun from? From east. Where we lose the sun from? Towards west. Actually, sun doesn't go anywhere. Sun doesn't rise. We rise in front of the sun. But we take it that way. So the sun rises from the east, and the east is called Purva. We lose the sun from the west, and the west is called Paschima. We have the first word. Now the second word is Uttana, where we lift and hold. Something that is held up is Uttana. I'm sure we have a Sanskrit specialist here. Stretch up, pull up, and hold it there. That's Uttana. So we have now lifting up the west and holding it up. If you put in word there, it's called Paschima Prana Utthana Paschimottanasana. By lifting the Paschima Prana, and what is Paschima Prana? Paschima Prana is the Apana. Purva Prana is the Prana. So when you say Purvottanasana, it's not just a backward bend, but it is supporting the Udana, holding on to Prana. That makes it Purvottanasana. Now imagine you are in a toilet trying to pee. Someone comes. What do? Natural reaction of most of the people. You pull up. You hold. You don't continue. Hi. This, what you do, is stopping apana from flowing outwards and pulling it upwards. So, if you want to do that, now sit straight, everyone, please. Completely straight. And now do that same movement that you try so that you don't pee. Anyway, please don't, but just try to do that movement and start bending forward. How far can you go before you have to release the hold that you are holding? How far can you go? As soon as you make your back slightly rounder, see, this you do, and it's gone. After that, if you focus, you realize you're not only not lifting up, but you're actually pushing downwards. So instead of lifting up, you're doing exactly opposite. You're pushing the apana downwards. Is it a forward bend? It could be. But is it necessarily a forward bend? It's not. So if I sit and hold the apana upward, am I doing Paschimottanasana? Yes. I don't need to bend forward to do so. But if I do so, I have to do it with a certain straight back. Otherwise, I'm going to push it downwards. So when we are exercising the pose, using the name and doing exactly opposite to it, are we really doing yoga? We are doing some exercise, we are doing some movement, but that we were doing anyway. Why do we go to yoga? Because it has a subtler meaning. It has a subtler understanding. And every position is defined in this way. I have a special task for you. When you go back, start torturing your teacher. We want to know the definitions of each pose. I'm sure for Portuguese Association it's not very difficult. I'm sure here there are teachers who are knowledgeable. But we have to start thinking. Going out of the textual line. Imagining our own ideas. Inventing some weird yoga. See, yesterday I asked a friend a question, very simple question. I'll give this question to you to mull upon. That for 2000 years, 3000 years, there was word yoga which meant combining and making one. And then in 20th century, suddenly there are hundreds of types of yogas. I can make one of two conclusions out of this. That the Indians happened to be completely dumb for 2000 years. They invented yoga, exhausted all their intelligence. And it took 2000 years to regenerate that. or something else happened in 20th century that created this blast of yoga around the world. And that is, we stopped reading what is written. We started pretending to be cleverer than the monks. And what happened is, then the asanas went into the direction of movement. Still? Okay. I was under impression that you're going to tell me go. Okay. So, what we need to understand, we started doing asanas as some kind of aerobics, as some kind of movement. And then people started telling us, you will feel better with that. When we couldn't exercise on the ground, we started climbing on top of each other. When were not happy with that, we started hanging ourselves with some curtains and whatnot. And what all we managed to do within last 50 years, we started drinking beer with yoga. In England, there is beer yoga, very popular. I'm sure in Germany it would be as popular. Because Germans and Czechs are basically fighting each other, who drinks more beer. So what all we managed to do, and that is because stimulation became the most important aspect of yoga. Instead of calming, instead of not moving, moving became the most important aspect of yoga. Instead of calming down and then automatically not having to breathe that much, faster breathing became breathing exercise. I have seen people panting like dogs and call it pranayam. Pant like dog. I have no problem with that. Don't please call it pranayam. It is not. We teach people things because they don't know. Because we don't know. Because it is all in Sanskrit. I have been saying this and Swamiji has been supporting me for last many years and still inviting me after all these kind of lectures. Sukadevji is always saying this. Why are we doing this? How difficult is it to learn a language? I'm sure there are many people here who speak more than one languages. How difficult it is to add one Sanskrit. People like Katarina are ready to teach. When we boost ourselves saying, I am doing yoga for 10 years, 15 years, I feel sad, not happy, that we didn't find those 200, 300 hours in those 10 years to learn that Sanskrit, to go back to the roots, to understand the meaning of each position, to understand the words of Patanjali, to understand the words. I'm sure there are many arguments that people would want to give. But these arguments are too lazy. I don't want to listen to those arguments because for me, these arguments are too lazy. It is not that difficult to understand Sanskrit. It is not understand to open the books, to read them, to understand the concept of Prána properly, to understand the concept of Náḍi Shástra. We have reached the manipulation to that extent that we are selling chakra underwears and people are buying those. We are selling chakra yoga mats made of rubber and people are buying those. You are smiling, but this is really sad. This is really sad. What we are doing is not yoga then. So I request all of you, you have great masters, Swamiji, Sukadevji, Bhandariji, Swamiji. You have great masters, highly educated. So please show the motivation to go back to the roots. We don't want to be tired telling you, learn some Sanskrit. We want to feel motivated that you want to learn it, that you really want yoga, not some kind of toga or bhoga, but really yoga. I know most of my speeches do offend a few people, but I mean no disrespect to anyone. I'm just worried that at one point there won't be any teachers left who would be able to really understand the words, understand Náḍi Shástra, and you'll be all doing jumping jacks under the name of yoga. We'll be laughing, we'll be stimulating, we'll be enjoying ourselves as going to a TV show or a theater. And all the work that these masters have done in the olden times will be lost. There are cultures like this who have lost it. And I'm sure we are a lot of responsible people here. So thank you very much for listening, not throwing things at me. And I hope that your study will continue in the right direction. Thank you very much.